YouTube, what is going on? Panda here, and this is my WWE Stomping Grounds review, guys. Make sure, before we get this thing kicked off, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at undergroundpan1. That's pretty much all I really do. That's the only social media site I really use to get all the updates on the channel and, my YouTube channel and everything else, my uploads. What's going on, guys, with the channel. So please make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. Tacoma, Washington, guys, was our site for the pay-per-view today. I'm obviously recording this after the pay-per-view. And I have to say, before we actually get these things kicked off, this pay-per-view was a tale of two halves. And I'll explain that when I get to it. Yeah, guys, so let's go ahead and dig in. We're going to go ahead and dig in with the kickoff pre-show, which was the triple threat for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese and Akira Tozawa. Guys, I am going to sit there and tell you that match was amazing. I wish it was on the main card and not the pre-show. The triple threat cruiserweight match definitely puts 205 Live kind of, I can't say on the map, because I imagine not a lot of people had watched this pay-per-view due to the obvious pictures, even the pictures that I posted on Twitter about how empty the arena was, exactly how empty the arena was. And I do have to give WWE production some credit on the camera angles that made the arena look and sound and feel a lot more fuller than it actually was. Props to them. Also props to the cruiserweights, by the way. Like I said, man, this match should not have been on the pre-show. Drew Gulak is your new cruiserweight champion. This match could have easily been replaced with the Raw Women's Champion, the SmackDown Women's Championship match, the Roman Reigns match. You could even probably put Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler in the pre-show. I know these are titles, and Roman Reigns is kind of the face of the company, but I just think that the cruiserweights should get more love than they deserve. And I think that people should watch 205 Live more than I think that they do. I understand the ratings are very terrible because that is a show that the crowd is really dead on, because the crowd just got through watching 2 hours of SmackDown, because it literally happens after SmackDown, the actual show. And people are already tired of Vince McMahon. So you guys should definitely give 205 a shot. I think 205 should not be partnered up with SmackDown. It should either have its own arena venue, kind of like NXT, or it should be on with NXT. But that's just my personal feelings on that one. So anyways, guys, not much on that match, really. A lot of high flying, a lot of, it's cruiserweights. A lot of good spots. But yeah, Drew Gulak actually pins Tozawa in the triple threat match. So we might be seeing a rematch, hopefully they'll start building a storyline on 205 for a rematch. So we'll have to see about that. Anyways, guys, we'll go ahead and kick off the main card of the pay-per-view. So the very first match of the actual pay-per-view was the Raw Women's Championship match, as it was Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. Wow. I'm going to say something, though. Tacoma, Washington, the actual crowd, they were hot. The first half of this show, they were loud, they were invested. It didn't feel like a show that WWE had forgotten. And to be honest, a lot of the booking, with the exception of this match, and this is why I mean by this is a show, this is a tale of two different shows. The first half of the show, I was worried because I wasn't going to have anything negative to say. Except for this match, the match I'm about to say right now. And this has nothing to do with Becky Lynch, by the way. It has everything to do with Lacey Evans. But then the second half of the show happened. So be prepared for probably a couple rants. Probably not long ones. because a lot of it didn't really bother me. It was a good show overall because of the first half of the show. It's just the second half was missing a lot. Not only logic, but the booking was a little weird and predictability. So, anyways. So, yeah, Tacoma Washington was loving everything that Becky Lynch was doing. So, the bell rings. They lock up, collar elbow tie up. Lynch powers her to the corner and puts a finger in her face before talking trash. Evans slaps the hand away. Lynch takes her down and applies a leg lock, but Evans gets to the bottom rope. Lynch gets to her feet and saunters around the ring. Lynch takes her down with a waist lock, but Evans again gets to the ropes. Lynch pulls her off of the ropes and slams her. Evans gets out of the ring, so Lynch follows and clubs her. Lynch gets her into the ring, avoids a running shoulder, and kicks her in the face. Lynch blocks a kick, and Evans begs her off. Lynch starts to walk in a circle while holding Evans' leg before sweeping the feet. Lynch bounces her off all four corners of the ring. Evans reverses a whip, but Lynch elbows her. Lynch slips, trying to do a springboard kick. Oh, yeah. The botches in this match were absolutely hilarious. But I'll rant after I get done with all of this. They go outside, and Evans shoves her ribs first into the commentary table. Lynch gets her back in the ring and takes her down. Evans quickly attacks the midsection because Becky Lynch was really selling the ribs that she had gotten pushed onto the commentary table. Evans quickly attacks the midsection, pulls her into the corner, goes outside, and stretches her around the ring post. That spot looked actually pretty good. She kind of tied her up like a bow around the ring post, and I mean a bow like a bow and arrow. And then start pulling on her chin or pulling on her hair and pulling on her legs. Looked absolutely devastating with her back up against the post, not her stomach, but her back. It looked really good, and I think at the end of the couple pulls, I think Lacey Evans was actually starting to hurt Becky Lynch, because you could tell Lynch was kind of pulling away near the end. Either that or she was pulling her hair like really, really hard. But anyways, Evans gets back in the ring for a near fall. Evans stretches Lynch and kicks her in the ribs. Evans continues to work over the midsection and takes her down by her hair. Evans applies armbar and punches ribs. Evans clinches in the armbar and digs a knee into her midsection. Lynch eventually fights out and pins Evans for a 2 count. Evans reverses a whip to the corner and viciously shoulder blocks her down. Lynch does a Matrix move. Oh, that's right. She bent backwards, kind of like how Neo had with the bullets for the iconic scene. Move to get out of the pin and knees Evans in the corner. Evans blocks a Bexploder and shoulders to the midsection into the corner. Evans goes for a maneuver, but Lynch counters to disarm her. Evans tries to turn her over for a pin, but Lynch keeps it applied. Evans eventually gets a foot on the bottom rope to break the hold. Evans quickly takes Lynch down in the corner and hits a slingshot Bronco Buster for a near fall. Evans pulls a handkerchief out of her pants, wipes her armpits, and throws it onto Lynch. Yeah, that was kind of disgusting. Lynch fights back and shoves a handkerchief in Evans' mouth via like a mandible claw, like the old Mankind Mick Foley mandible claw. It was actually pretty funny to watch that. Lynch punches away at her before kneeing her in the face. Lynch hits the ropes, but she boots Evans back. Lynch hits a running shoulder thrust. Lynch stomps her in the corner before hitting a Bexploder for a near fall. Lynch keeps her down and goes to the top rope for a diving leg drop, but Evans moves. Evans goes for a slingshot splash. Woo! I will be able to talk tonight, guys. But Lynch gets the knees up. Lynch goes for the disarmer. Evans fights it. Evans hits a jawbreaker and knees her down, but Lynch kicks out. Evans goes to the top rope. She goes for a Evans goes for a moonsault. She misses the moonsault, and then Becky Lynch puts on to disarm her, and she taps like immediately. And I do mean immediately. So the winner is Becky Lynch, and she remains the Raw Women's Championship. My thoughts on this match. Like I said, I'm not going to rate it. I'm going to rate the show. Wow. Terrible, actually. It was actually a bad way to start Stomping Grounds. If you missed the Cruiserweight match, the triple threat match, you missed a good match and then going into a bad match. And like I said, this has nothing to do with Becky Lynch. I do think that Becky Lynch is, well, she's obviously not the best women's wrestler in the locker room, but she is a good women's wrestler. She is not Lacey Evans. Wow. Lacey Evans needs to go back down to NXT. She needs practice because she is so green, so new to wrestling that it's unbearable to watch her matches. I can't. The amount of botches that were in this match, I mean, like I said, give it to the crowd. They were all backing Becky the whole time. You didn't hear no "you fucked up" chants, nothing like that, like some WWE crowds have been known to do, which obviously started from ECW when Sabu would botch. But I mean, I want this feud to be over, and the reason why I say that is because later on, the main event, it obviously isn't over, but it's just when Becky Lynch is literally almost shouting the spots out to Lacey Evans, everyone can hear it, by the way. Everyone, like, I'm listening to the TV, especially when the crowd got quiet. When the crowd, like, kind of settled down, you could definitely hear every single spot that was called in that match by Becky Lynch. So why in the hell are we having this match? Like, you need to practice this in the ring before the show, probably a couple times over before. I mean, I don't know how Lacey Evans is on, like, her memorization of matches, but they do not need to be playing it by ear because, holy cow, they do not need to be spot calling. Never. It just came off as fake. It came off as ultra cheesy. I mean, it's just, we all know wrestling's fake, but when you are just blatantly calling spots out to where everybody can hear it because you're in the ring with somebody who, quite honestly, doesn't deserve to be in the ring, the same ring as Becky Lynch, you just get a mess of a start, and that's exactly what I tweeted out. I said, what a mess to the start of the pay-per-view. What a mess. It was. Becky Lynch needs to quit having these pushes. I mean, we all know why she has the push in WWE. I just think that this belongs to somebody else. I don't know why we can't see Ember Moon go up against Becky Lynch, or why we can't see, even Rose. I would go with Rose. I would go with anybody else except for Alexa Bliss, pretty much. Any other female back there, and Charlotte, because I know Charlotte's on SmackDown, but we're tired of seeing Charlotte Flair for at least a little bit. Pretty much I think any female. Oh yeah, the Iconics. Don't put them in the ring either. I think it's any other female back there. Asuka. Asuka, I think, would be probably the best heel for Becky, because my main issue with Becky Lynch is ever since Ronda Rousey left after WrestleMania, the women's division took a big crash. And it's not the women's fault. It is not any of the women's fault. This is Vince McMahon's fault completely. He doesn't book the women that are back there. I mean, literally, when you see segments on their weekly television where Ember Moon is either playing a Nintendo Switch or she's reading a book before, you see her angle. I mean, there's so much more that you could be doing with Ember Moon. There's so much more you could be doing with Asuka. So much you could be doing with any female back there besides Lacey Evans. Like, Lacey Evans is definitely not championship material. I already bitched about that. No, I think it was a SmackDown review. It was one of those too. But no. No, absolutely not. Lacey Evans needs to work on her wrestling skills. So I do admit she does play the Southern Belle really well, but that's all she does. Anyways, backstage, Paul Heyman walks out of Baron Corbin's office. Heyman reminds everybody that Brock Lesnar could come after Seth Rollins potentially tonight. We get it. Paul Heyman with his explaining to everybody how the Money in the Bank briefcase works. I don't know if he's doing this because he has literally nothing to talk about, because this is just bad booking. Maybe he thought that Brock Lesnar winning the thing was a terrible idea. I mean, everybody else did at Money in the Bank, but I don't know. He keeps reminding us like we don't know how this works, how the Money in the Bank briefcase works. So now this is when I'm sitting there saying that the show started getting better. A lot of people were asking, it was like, did Triple H take over the first half of the show and then Vince took over the second half? And a lot of times I have to agree with them, because these next 3 matches were main event matches, if not WrestleMania matches. Okay, and I know a lot of people, oh no, they're not WrestleMania matches. Yes, they were, especially when you look at the main events, the 2 main events that were here. These 3 matches could have easily replaced these main events. Even though this match coming up had no reason to be here, it was just made just to be made. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Xavier Woods and Big E of the New Day. Like I had stated before, I was kind of getting over the New Day. I think mainly it's just a pancake gimmick. I really don't like the throwing of the pancakes. It just looks dumb, especially when it comes from your WWE champion. Xavier Woods and Big E, I love them as a tag team. I love them as tag team champions. They're really good tag team champions. The New Day itself is one of the biggest babyface factions in professional wrestling. So, they're really over, and I like that. It's just I think I was just kind of getting tired of how silly they were, especially when it was a lot of the angles and stories were a little bit more serious than what was led on by those guys. This match, however, wow. Like I said, meant absolutely nothing. But this match, killer. This made Xavier Woods, Big E, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn look good as hell. I got excited for this match. I ain't gonna lie. I was excited. I was completely invested. But let's go ahead and review it before I start talking too much. So, Owens immediately knocks Big E off the apron and super kicks Woods a few times. Owens hits a swanton bomb for a near fall. It was crazy. Owens did a swanton bomb right off the top rope in the beginning of the match. Crazy. It was crazy. Sami Zayn tags in and hits the Blue Thunder bomb, which I do have to say this. The tag team wrestling that was in this match was absolutely on point, especially from Sami and Kevin. These guys were cutting off the ring like you actually supposed to do in tag team wrestling, working down Woods like crazy. Woods was selling like crazy. He was coming up to get his shine. I mean, it was amazing. But either way, Owens tags back in and hits Woods with a frog splash near fall. Owens punches away at Woods before tagging Sami Zayn in. Sami punches and kicks away at Woods. Big E comes back on the apron. Zayn punches away at Woods before tagging Owens in. Owens mocks the New Day dance, which he actually does a really good job at it. And people were actually getting behind the New Day when he was doing it. But he hit Woods with a cannonball in the corner for a 2 count. I don't know why all fat wrestlers do cannonballs in the corners. I guess it's the promoters laughing at them that they're all fat. But Owens does it. There's a bunch of them that do it. The 2 big tag teams from the MLW, the like 800-pound duo, MLW, they do it. Ring of Honor does it with the Beer City Bruisers. This is pretty much every fat guy I know in wrestling does the cannonball. So it's overdone, but I like when Owens does it because I like Kevin Owens. Owens hits a senton splash and talks trash to Big E. Zayn tags in and punches away at Woods. Woods punches and chops at Zayn, but Zayn takes him down with a crossface. Woods counters into a pin for a 2 count. Owens tags in and he stomps Woods back. Woods ducks a short arm clothesline and hits an enziguri. Zayn tags in and knocks Big E off the apron. Owens tags in, but Woods avoids him. Woods then hits a victory roll face buster. Owens was trying for like that backsplash that he does. He went to run into the ring, and Woods moved out of the way. So Big E, so Woods is like crawling, right? Woods has had one hell of a beating. You gotta think this was like what 8-9 minutes in the match. He was just sitting there taking shot after shot after shot after shot from these guys. And I mean, it like I said, this is the best tag team style wrestling I have seen in WWE, and outside of NXT, of course. This main roster, probably in a very, very long time. Yeah, I would have to say that. Quite some time. Big E and Zayn tag in. Big E hits a pair of belly-to-belly overhead suplexes before hitting a belly-to-belly side suplex. Big E knocks Owens off the apron and elbows Zayn. Big E then hits a big splash for a near fall. Zayn quickly boots Big E and punches him. Big E counters a tornado DDT and slams Zayn for a 2 count. Woods tags in and tries to lift Big E, but he can't. Oh yeah, this is funny. Woods finally lifts Big E, like Woods, who's clearly like half the size of Big E. He lifts him in like an electric chair, and then he comes out and does like a splash onto Zayn. It looked absolutely crazy, and the crowd was really into this. This is what I gotta say. Tacoma, Washington, these dudes, even though that arena sold, like half of the arena got sold, and literally they didn't even show the hard cam side because it was like literally curtains draped over like 98% of that section. My God, the crowd here, they brought it. They were so loud. They were really into this match. So was I. Like, I always love a good crowd. Like, part of professional wrestling isn't just what's in the ring. I think a lot of it is, it's kind of like a two-way relationship. If the crowd is feeling it and you're feeling at home, like the energy, the wrestlers can feed off the energy and they can make their match that much better. I mean, think about all the classics, you know, Bret Hart, Steve Austin, the infamous double turn, you know, Shawn Michaels when he won in the Elimination Chamber, that crowd, just the energy, every time Stone Cold came out, every time The Rock came out, I mean, it was just, the dead crowd, if there's a dead crowd, the wrestlers are going to, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to have a dead match, but I've seen good matches on dead crowds. It's just, I think that when the crowd is really into it and they really know it's good, then the wrestlers feed off of that and they become that much better as well. So, like I said, the crowd was into this and I loved it. But anyways, after Big E splashes Zayn off of Woods, Woods hits a slingshot leg drop, but Owens breaks up the pin. Big E throws Owens out of the ring. The New Day goes for the midnight hour, but Zayn gets out. Owens tags in. Zayn hits a helluva kick on Owens, or on Woods. Sorry, Owens. On Woods, and Owens hits a pop-up powerbomb, but Big E breaks up the pin. Big E coming into into the ring. He was on the outside. Him coming into the ring, because Big E obviously is a big dude, and I don't mean big as in fat, I mean big as in muscular big. To see him fly through the bottom rope to break up that pin, it really says a lot about Big E, and it says a lot about Xavier Woods. I think the big thing about Xavier Woods is he's highly underrated. When you see him in the ring, it is magic. It's absolute magic. He is just one hell of a worker. I really like watching Xavier Woods. Big E turns Zayn inside out with a clothesline. Owens super kicks Big E, and Woods hits Owens with a spinning elbow. They all four sell, and they're all down. It is the whole crowd, they are chanting. They're loving this, man. It's crazy. Crazy. Zayn and Woods are fighting on the apron. Biggie then spears Zayn off the apron, which, like I said, Biggie, for a man his size, he goes a suicide dive, but Sami Zayn was on the apron, and then he did a suicide dive, and they both crashed into the floor. Crazy stuff, man. Woods goes to the top rope, but Owens pulls him off and hits the Stone Cold Stunner for the win. So the heels win this one. So winners by pinfall is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Love this match. Holy cow. Holy shit, I have to say, I love this match. This match, even though it had zero meaning, and that makes me sad, put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a tag team right now. I understand they're on different brands, who gives a shit? Put them back on Raw or SmackDown, doesn't matter. Feud with the New Day and the Revival, or if they're on SmackDown with Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the Heavy Machinery, it doesn't matter. Put these two as a tag team. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn look amazing together. They've been mistreated like hell recently in singles, or that the two out of three falls with the New Day, and all. It just looks horrible. Don't put them with Baron Corbin. Don't put them with Roman Reigns. Don't put them with. I mean, I don't know why Roman Reigns would be with Kevin Owens. Don't put him with Drew McIntyre. Don't put him with any heel in a three-man like the New Day. That works for the New Day because all of those guys are over together. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn should be a tag team, and they need to bring legitimacy back to the a dying tag team division. Which is sad, because I have to say that, because you got the Revival, you got Heavy Machinery, you got Daniel Bryan and Rowan, you got the Revival, you got the Usos. You have the best tag teams in the world, arguably. I understand that AEW has a lot of strong tag teams as well. I think WWE has the better tag team talent. You have the Good Brothers, or the Club, even though they probably won't be in WWE much longer. I mean, you have the talent, you need to use it, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn needs to be a tag team. Put them together. Do not have them in singles, and don't have them lose every week as well. They need to start winning. They need to start having momentum. This is the one thing that WWE doesn't seem to get right. Your wrestlers can't win one week and then lose one week and then wonder why the crowd doesn't get behind them. I mean, you got to think, who honestly thought, I'm not spoiling anything, who honestly thought Dolph Ziggler was going to win this match at Stomping Grounds? I know I'm jumping ahead, but I mean, who in their right minds thought Dolph Ziggler was going to win his match? I mean, come on. Seriously? Nobody did. I mean, but that's the second half of the show. Let's move on. Let's continue with the good. Next match was the United States Championship match as Ricochet versus Samoa Joe. Guys, perfection. Damn near perfection. Crowd was into it, like I said. They were feeling it. I was feeling it. Ricochet put on a hell of a show. And so did Samoa Joe. Absolutely loved the chemistry between these two. Absolutely amazing. This is when after this match, is when I started sweating bullets. I was like, I had no idea what I'm going to talk about. I can't shit on Lacey Evans for over an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I probably can if I can find stuff. But, I mean, that was the only match that I was like, what is this? You know, that match was regular WWE, and what we were watching with the cruiserweights, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and New Day, and now Ricochet and Samoa Joe, it was like we were watching NXT TakeOver. This is what we were watching, was NXT TakeOver. It was good match after good match after good match. But anyways, they circle the ring, and Joe wrenches the arm before grounding him. Joe slaps his head and kicks the back. Joe lets go. I love heel Samoa Joe, especially douchebag Samoa Joe. He's amazing. Ricochet gathers himself and goes to the center of the ring. Joe jabs him down, so Ricochet goes to the corner. Ricochet peppers him with forearms, flips over him, and hits a hit scissor takeover. Ricochet then drop kicks him out of the ring. Joe avoids the baseball slide, and Ricochet punches him. Joe drives Ricochet into the ring apron. Joe sends him ribs first into the ring apron and gets him into the ring. Ricochet flips over him and charges, but Joe catches him with a Uranagi for a near fall. Wow, yeah, the Uranagi in the corner looked so devastating. And I have to say, super props to Ricochet. Ricochet, some people said he was overselling. At a few points I agreed, but for 95% of his sell job, he made Samoa Joe look like the beast that he says he is. The thing with Samoa Joe that kind of gets me mad, because I like Samoa Joe, is, of course, I've been watching him from TNA, is the simple fact that he's now old Bray Wyatt. He talks a lot of trash, but then at the end of the day, he loses a lot, and a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And you need a wrestler like a Shawn Michaels, like a Dolph Ziggler, like Ricochet, to make his words mean something. But that's just me. Ricochet fights back. Joe annihilates him with a back elbow for a 2 count. Ricochet fights back, but Joe pushes him to the corner and hits a snap kick for a near fall. Joe applies a chin lock, but Ricochet gets to his feet and hits a jawbreaker. Joe gets to his feet and forearms Ricochet down. Ricochet holds onto the ropes, so Joe hits a sit-out slam for a 2 count. Joe applies a neck vice and grounds Ricochet. Ricochet fights up, hits a backflip drop kick, a regular drop kick, and an enziguri. Both men are down. Like I said, Ricochet is very aerial. He's they would call him the aerial assassin if it wasn't for Will Ospreay, but Ricochet is one of those guys who is going to be a major player in WWE. So you guys need to watch out for him, definitely. So anyways, they get up and trade punches. Ricochet hits a running forearm before connecting with a hurricanrana. Ricochet hits a running shoulder block before catching him with a springboard clothesline. Joe rolls out of the ring, so Ricochet hits him with a Fosbury flop. Ricochet gets him in the ring and hits a missile dropkick, followed by a springboard moonsault for a near fall. Ricochet fights back, but Joe hits a snap power slam for a 2 count. They trade chops before Ricochet tries for a handspring back elbow. Joe catches him, hits a vicious German suplex, and turns him inside out with a clothesline for a near fall. Ricochet fights out a Uranagi attempt and elbows him. Joe flips him over and tries for a coquina clutch. Ricochet gets to the ropes and takes him down. Ricochet goes to the top rope, but Joe avoids the 630. Ricochet lands on his feet, avoids the clothesline, and hits Codebreaker. Ricochet goes to the top rope and hits a 630 for the win, and we have a new United States champion, Ricochet. My God, what a match. What a match. Absolutely awesome. Perfect. I like how he got out of the coquina clutch, too. Joe put it on him. He was standing. He climbs up like the top rope, like while Joe still has like his neck and stuff, and he goes over the top rope onto the apron and then does the choke, where they come down. The guy hits his neck on the top rope and then falls. Amazing. After the match was pretty awesome as well, and this is what I mean by this. So Ricochet celebrates United States Championship. Samoa Joe's furious. Ricochet goes backstage. Seth Rollins. There was Seth Rollins. There was Charlotte. There was the Heavy Machinery. Like, all these people are clapping for him. And then out of nowhere, Triple H shows up. Because, Triple H, obviously NXT. The crowd pops for Triple H, by the way. He shows up out of nowhere. And he shakes his hand, congratulates him, and hugs Ricochet. And it was a moment in wrestling that not only signifies that Ricochet is probably going to be doing big things in this company, but it was nice to see Triple H congratulate somebody, give them a hug. Because a lot of wrestlers see Triple H, especially coming out of NXT, as a father figure to them. Apparently, he's like one of like the best guys to work with, which is great. Great to hear. Absolutely awesome. Um, it was great. So we got another great match, back-to-back matches. Absolutely amazing. Loved it. And then after that, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Heavy Machinery versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan as the champion. And guess what? The third straight awesome match. The third straight good match on a card that nobody thought was going to be anything. I myself was only interested in two matches. That was the United States Championship match and this one. Obviously, they're in Washington, so Daniel Bryan is from Washington State, so you know exactly what was going on. The crowd, like I said, was amazing. They were absolutely amazing. Daniel Bryan comes out and the crowd gets loud. You swear to God, you were sitting there at a major, 20,000 arena, had filled up, not, 6,000. Crazy. It was awesome. These guys, like I said, Tacoma, Washington crowd, they were on it. They were on fire. I do have to say, though, that in this match, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the crowd was never better, obviously, supporting Daniel Bryan. They had a couple chants in there that was actually pretty funny. They had the recycling chant because, Daniel Bryan is saving the world. And they also had a drive a Prius chant. Yeah. I laughed. I laughed my ass off when I heard that. At first, I didn't know what they were saying, and then when it really got loud, that was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Wow, great. Rowan starts against Otis. Rowan looks around and looks at Bryan. The yes chants come in. They wanted Daniel Bryan to win the ring. They did not want Rowan to start off. They wanted Daniel Bryan was looking around. Otis, was looking around. I mean, it was magical in there. It was magical. I loved it. Loved every bit of it. So, Rowan tags in Bryan, and the crowd goes absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Bryan gets in there, he's strutting around. This is his hometown. Otis is letting him, do his thing, get the crowd behind him, because like I said, wrestlers feed off the energy of the crowd. And I mean, it's crazy. So a loud yes chant fires up. Daniel Bryan tags in. Otis jumps around. Another huge Daniel Bryan chant picks up. Bryan peppers Otis with kicks and circles around him, right in the thighs. Otis blocks a kick and takes Bryan down before taunting him. Heavy Machinery, even though they're baby faces, they were huge heels in this match. The people in Washington booed everything that they did and cheered everything Daniel Bryan and Rowan did. It was amazing. It was amazing. Like I said, I was feeling it. If I could feel the energy from sitting on my ass watching it, I know the wrestlers in there felt it. And that's what makes wrestling beautiful. But anyways, they lock up and Otis shoves him down again. Otis is getting booed, like I said, and he taunts the crowd. Like, they completely switched roles. It was amazing how Bryan and Rowan were they switched pretty much into baby faces, and then Heavy Machinery kind of switched into heels. And what I mean by that is they were taunting the crowd. They were doing kind of heelish stuff, not full heel because they are baby faces at the end of the day. But they were taunting the crowd, making the crowd boo and everything, and it was amazing. And Daniel Bryan, was doing babyface stuff. He was making them cheer. He was addressing the fans, as not in a heelish manner. He wasn't talking down to them or anything. It was amazing. Like I said, the crowd continues to chat for Bryan. Bryan kicks away at Otis, but Otis catches him with a press slam. Tucker tags in, and Heavy Machinery hits a trade-off delay vertical suplex for a 2 count. Tucker applies a chin lock, but Bryan whips him off. Tucker turns him inside out with a clothesline for a 2 count. Bryan flips through a back suplex, and Rowan blind tags in. Bryan kicks Tucker, and Rowan takes him down with a running crossbody. Rowan puts Tucker in the corner, punches him, and hits an avalanche. Rowan takes him down, but Tucker kicks out. A please recycle chant fires up. This is what I'm talking about. The recycle chants. This crowd, this crowd, they were getting me going. I ain't gonna lie, I was going. I was pumped up. It was great. Rowan applies a neck vice, but Tucker gets out. Bryan tags in, and Rowan whips him into Tucker with a drop kick. Bryan pulls Tucker to the ring post and slams the leg off the post. Daniel Bryan started working on Tucker's leg, and Tucker was selling the leg really, really well, which Heavy Machinery, both of them are pretty big dudes, but I do have to say that Tucker and his athleticism in this match, absolutely insanity. Absolutely insane. With the moonsaults and off the top ropes, Big E was doing it too. These guys had brought it. These guys definitely brought it. So yeah. Rowan puts Tucker in the corner, punches him, hits avalanche. Oh yeah, I already said the please recycle chance. Rowan applies neck vice. Alright, Bryan tags in. Rowan whips him into the corner for a drop kick. I already read that too. Bryan pulls Tucker into the ring post, slams the leg off the post. Bryan stands on Tucker's knees and slams them off the mat. Rowan tags in and attacks the leg of Tucker. Rowan hits a big splash for a near fall. Rowan sends him into the corner, but Tucker boots him. Rowan charges, but he hits the ring post shoulder first. And the camera work was really, 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 really good. Rowan looked fantastic when the camera panned on him after the shoulder tackle. Very believable stuff. Bryan and Otis are tagged in. Otis takes Bryan down a few times to loud boos. Otis spins around with Bryan before hitting a slam. Otis charges, but Bryan hits a drop toe hold into the turnbuckle. Bryan hits a pair of running corner drop kicks, but Otis counters a third with a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Otis goes to the second rope for a Vader bomb, but Bryan moves. Bryan gets to his feet and starts hitting the yes kicks. Now, what I have to say about the yes kicks in this match, you could hear them with the crowd, yes, 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 Bryan, and the please recycle and drive a Prius. Those kicks, I mean, wow. Could you hear those kicks? It just shot after shot after shot after shot. Daniel Bryan put in a lot of effort into that. And Otis took him like a champ, by the way. Otis starts hulking up and absorbs the kicks. Otis then hits an exploder suplex to boos. Otis avalanches Bryan in the corner and gets fired up. Otis hits the caterpillar elbow drop on Bryan. Tucker tags in, and Otis catapults Bryan into Tucker for a slam. That looked really great. Rowan breaks up a pin and knocks Otis out of the ring. Bryan starts kicking away at Tucker before Tucker responds with punches. Tucker ducks a kick and hits a back suplex. Goes to the top rope for a moonsault. Bryan moves. Tucker's ankles hit Bryan as he rolls away. Now, I don't know exactly what happened there. Bryan, I guess, didn't roll out of the way quick enough, or, I mean, I know Tucker is a tall and big guy, but when he did that moonsault, it kind of hit Bryan, and then the referees ran immediately over to Bryan. He was holding his head, and as you know, Daniel Bryan has a big history with concussions. Obviously, he's fine, because he did the rest of this match, but still a little bit of a scary moment, but I guess Bryan did not compensate how tall Tucker was, so. Rowan and Otis tag in. They both absorb shoulder blocks and power moves. Rowan hits the ropes, but Otis ducks a clothesline and catches him with a crossbody. Otis slams him. Tucker tags in, and Bryan breaks up the compactor. Bryan hits a springboard knee. Bryan goes for a suicide dive on Tucker, but Tucker punches him. Tucker then hits Rowan with a crossbody block to the floor, which insane. Like I said, Tucker, he's just flying off the top ropes onto the floor, doing moonsaults. Really impressive stuff. Tucker gets in the ring, but Bryan catches him with an inside cradle for the win, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan retain your SmackDown Tag Team titles. I would say that I absolutely hate roll-up wins. because I do. But I do have to say, in this instance, it was good. I was completely okay with it because Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are heels, and Daniel Bryan is the smaller of the group. Obviously, Eric Rowan and both members of Heavy Machinery are both big dudes, and Daniel Bryan obviously is a smaller guy, so it makes more sense. I just don't like it. Well, all right, well, and let me say another thing. Daniel Bryan won with a roll up, not hitting his finisher. I hate that in wrestling when they hit their finisher and then the guy kicks out. Like, let's say the Undertaker's wrestling Shawn Michaels, right? And the Undertaker tombstones Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels kicks out of the tombstone. So then the Undertaker has to roll him up to win. Like, I hate that. That is the dumbest spot in wrestling. And this one works because, number one, Daniel Bryan didn't do his finisher on Tucker. Tucker literally flew off the top rope onto Rowan to the outside, and then he rolled in, and then Daniel Bryan did a heel tactic and rolled him up quickly for the pin. That's different. That's different than just the random roll-ups that you'll see, especially in New Japan. New Japan has a big problem with that. They need to chill out with the roll-up pins after doing finisher moves. Don't like that. But anyways, back to Stomping Grounds. Fantastic match. Absolutely amazing. 3 in a row, plus with the Cruiserweight Championship. Things are rolling. Things are rolling. The only thing I had to bitch about was the Women's Raw Tag Team Championship with Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Obviously, this would spill over into the main event, but like I said, that's a little later on. And then this is the part where I say these pay-per-views were a tale of two different shows. After this, after the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, which I think they should have had a Raw Tag Team Championship match in the pay-per-view as well. The Usos versus the Revival, that would have been another barn burner. But whatever. Then the other half of the show happened. Vince McMahon probably showed up, or Vince McMahon probably said, "Excuse me, son-in-law, who can actually book good wrestling and make good products for WWE, NXT. Let me take over the show now." Horrible. And again, a women's match. I don't understand. I'll just read it and then I will explain. SmackDown Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross versus Bayley. Love me some Bayley, hate me some Bliss. The bell rings, Bliss stomps away at Bayley. Bayley powers her to the corner and takes her down for a 2 count. Bliss quickly shoves her to the corner and shoulders her. Bayley fights out and hits a snake eyes on Bliss. Bliss then slams her into the turnbuckle for a 2 count. They're dueling chants for both women. I don't know why. The crowd really started to lose the momentum, though, as this match goes on. Bliss chokes Bayley on the ropes and kicks her. Bliss then applies a chin lock. Bliss fights out and stomps away at Bayley. Bliss gets her in the corner and slaps her in the face before bowing to the crowd. Bayley explodes out of the corner with a clothesline. Bayley stomps her and hits a rolling elbow drop. Bayley charges, but Bliss slaps her in the face. A very loud slap, by the way. The whole arena heard that. Bayley quickly snaps her off the ropes and knees her in the face. Bayley goes to the top rope, but Bliss avoids her. Bliss hits the ropes, but Bayley knees her. Bayley goes for a sliding drop kick through the corner of the ring, but Bliss avoids it. Bliss then pulls her shoulder first into the ring post. Bliss gets her into the ring for a 2 count. Bliss works over the injured shoulder and yanks away at it. Bayley was, after the shoulder hit on the steel post, she was working the shoulder still. Bliss goes for a head scissors, but Bayley counters into a back suplex for a 2 count. Bayley hits a sunset flip into the turnbuckles. I don't know why the buckle bomb, quote unquote, it says Bliss's head bounces off the turnbuckles. Yeah, no shit. For a wrestler that's been out since, I don't know, forever. She'd been out for a long time. Bliss, with concussions, and of course her surgeries, her enhancement surgeries, but with concussions was the original. Why would you have her do the buckle bomb spot where the back of her head is hitting a turnbuckle? That is one of the most dangerous moves in professional wrestling. Why are you calling these spots? Okay, I don't care much for Alexa Bliss, but I do care for a wrestler's safety, and I do think that you should be more respectful when it comes to wrestlers who are coming off of concussions and not giving them buckle bombs or anything that has to do with hitting the back of their head on a turnbuckle. I don't know why Bayley agreed to this move. Well, I do know why Bayley probably agreed because she absolutely hates Alexa Bliss, but I don't know why Bliss agreed to this move. I don't know the agent who allowed this move to happen, but unless we were lied to by WWE, she really didn't have concussions. You need to stop that move. Stop doing that spot with Alexa Bliss. Seriously. I mean, that is all it takes is one. All it takes is one fuck up, and you have someone who is paralyzed. Like, legitimately. I don't know why they keep doing it. Anyways, Bayley wipes out Nikki Cross with a suicide dive. Bliss pulled Nikki Cross in front, even though it looked like Nikki Cross had shoved her. It was actually kind of a pull more than it was a push, but whatever. Bliss quickly takes Bayley down to the floor and hits Code Red. Bliss gets her into the ring and goes to the top rope. Cross gets in the ring, but the referee holds her back. Now, Nikki Cross, I didn't get this spot. It came off as probably a timing issue. Bayley was already beaten. She was laying on the ground, and I understand that Nikki Cross was going to attack Bayley for, cross-bodying her, splashing on her, but there's a time and place for it, and to me, it just looked like Nikki Cross it looked dumb. It really looked dumb. I don't know why Nikki Cross would get in there, and I like Nikki Cross. I hope that this now goes to Nikki Cross versus Bayley for the championship. That's a match I would much rather see than Bliss. But it just came off as, what are you doing? Like, your quote-unquote best friend has her beat. She's on the top rope going for the Twisted Bliss, which is Alexa Bliss's finisher. It looked bad. I don't know why Nikki Cross would go in there, distract the referee, unless now there's going to be some kind of heat angle where, Alexa Bliss blames Nikki Cross on the loss and so on and so forth, and you find out that, Bliss isn't as nice to Cross as you think that she is. I mean, I'm putting too much effort, too much thought into an angle that I honestly don't give a shit about. So let's move on. Bliss fights Bayley off the ropes and goes for a Twisted Bliss. When Bliss gets the knees up, Bayley hits Bayley to belly for the win, and Bayley retains the women's championship match, SmackDown championship, which I don't care. I don't care. Like I said, the finish was confusing. Nobody knew. I didn't know why Nikki Cross had done that, unless it is to set up a storyline angle. I think it would have made more sense for Nikki Cross to attack Bayley after the match instead of during the match, clearly while the referee was standing there. I mean, the referee caught her, but it just, even if she would have attacked her, it would have been a DQ. So a disqualification finish, Alexa Bliss still would have lost. Like, I don't really understand the logic in that particular finish, but I mean, it was a bad match anyways. I don't know why the crowd was chanting for Bliss. I don't see what everybody else sees in her. She's a terrible wrestler. I like Lacey Evans. So, whatever. Footage of R-Truth beating Drake Maverick at his wedding for the WWE 24/7 Championship. Okay. I hate the 24/7 Championship when it's on the main television, but I have to admit, I actually watched that segment on YouTube, and it was fucking hilarious. Like, after I told you that, the Drake Maverick had dressed up like Carmella, rolled up R-Truth in the parking lot, and then drove off the 24/7 Championship, saying that he was getting married. They had it on YouTube, or maybe it was on YouTube, WWE's YouTube, and they had Drake Maverick getting pinned he was getting married to his wife. Obviously, they had the real ceremony. This was a mock ceremony. EC3 was the best man, like in the elevator spot, which on the main roster I was mad about. But now I'm actually kind of happy if they, as long as they keep it on YouTube and Twitter, I will be happy. Keep it off the main show. But he was walking down the aisle with his wife. They already pronounced man and wife. He had the 24/7 title on like his waist. He's walking through, the aisle. The people are cheering. They're like, throwing rice and all that other good stuff. And then a referee meets him at like the door. And then all of a sudden, R-Truth rolls him up from behind and wins the belt. Everybody's booing Truth, and he's running. He's running through. I have to admit, it was the funniest thing. And what actually made it funny was Drake Maverick's Twitter account after he lost. He had like the tie on his forehead. Like he pulled up the tie. He was like his suit was all messed up. He was at the bar drinking heavily, and then his wife had tweeted that she wanted a divorce. It was the funniest. It was crazy. It was just insane stuff. I actually laughed. This is the first time I actually laughed at a 24/7 title. Keep it on YouTube and Twitter, by the way. Do not show that shit on Raw. I know they're going to. They're going to show it, but don't show it. Okay? Keep it on the internet. Call it the internet title, not the 24/7 title. Call it the internet title, and I will have no problems with it. That guy on Twitter who pretends to be the 24/7 title, get a real job, get a real life, my friend. Anyways, new WWE champion, United States champion Ricochet is taking professional photos when Gallows and Anderson walk up. They try and throw in like the Bullet Club signs, like the Too Sweet signs to them. It's kind of weird, but then you see AJ Styles, which, whoa. Styles congratulates Ricochet and says he will see him tomorrow on Raw. Which, shortly after that, a match was made. Styles versus Ricochet in a non-title match on Monday Night Raw. I actually have to say that I'm actually pretty excited to see that. Love AJ Styles. Love Ricochet. Going to be a good match. Both high flyers. Both perfectionists. Really great sellers. Even though AJ Styles is much older, he's kind of his best days are behind him. He still makes good matches. So, Drew McIntyre with Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns. Yuck. I don't care. I took a shower through this match. I was getting ready for work because I had to work this weekend. I just didn't care. But I will give you the quick highlights. Very quick. Well, Michael Cole says the big dog really loud. I do remember that when I was showering. Pretty much Roman Reigns wins. He beats Drew McIntyre, which I don't get it. With the Superman punch, of course, he throws McMahon off of, the apron and whatnot. It's a mess. That rivalry, that feud is so old. So old. Nobody cares. Also, they did after the match, it said Roman Reigns celebrates while the commentators talk about how this is the final chapter and Reigns has finally rid himself of McMahon and McIntyre. That's before they go and make a match on Reigns and McIntyre, or Reigns versus Shane and McIntyre at Extreme Rules, I think. I believe that's what the match is. So it is not the end of this feud, and I'm going to continue not to talk about it because I'm so over this. I know Roman Reigns is on the front of my review. I do not care for Roman Reigns. I don't. I'm tired of looking at him. I'm tired of him fighting Shane and Drew McIntyre. Move the hell on. Roman Reigns needs to be fighting people more credible than a 51-year-old McMahon and Drew McIntyre, who's nothing more than a jobber at this point. I mean, come on, who can take him seriously anymore? He's constantly losing, and when he's not losing, he's putting these factions that mean nothing. Obviously, Shane McMahon's faction, he was with Dolph Ziggler, he was with, who was it? Was it with Kevin Owens, I believe, and Sami Zayn? I mean, it's a mess. Who cares anymore? Like, honestly, who gives a shit? I don't care. I don't care. So, here you go. WWE Championship match, Steel Cage, Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. This, again, I mean, the Steel Cage coming down looked really cool. I mean, they really had, like, the they tried to make it like the feel of like a doomsday kind of thing. They didn't do it as well as TNA did it with their what was that, the steel cage pay-per-view Lockdown. But yeah, like I said, Kofi Kingston champion versus it should have been me, Dolph Ziggler. I hate Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, man. I'm not going to give you the highlights of this one either because you knew who was going to win this match. You knew who was going to win this match. And by honestly, I'm going to sit here and tell you this. All right, I'm going to tell you the finish of this match. They did have a decent match. Very decent. It wasn't like the best match. It was at some points is downright damn boring. I think a lot of the crowd couldn't see what the hell was going on because even the cameras were kind of having a hard time with the cage. Don't know why. This isn't the first cage match in WWE history, so I don't know what was up with that. I think they should have the holes in the cages like they used to one, put the camera lens through so you're not having a cage in front of you when you're trying to see what's going on. And also helps the wrestlers put their foot into the mesh because I've noticed, especially recently and in this match, Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston were having one hell of a time trying to climb over the cage. So just drill the holes in them. Like have like the little holes in them like they used to have. I know there's like some safety reason or whatever because the wrestler can get their boots caught and whatnot, but you're in a freaking steel cage. There isn't much safe about the steel cage. Okay, let me tell you about the finish, alright? This is ridiculous. So, Ziggler, they're both, the door's open, right? Ziggler's doing, it's the old spot of Ziggler's halfway out of the cage door. He's going to hit the floor, and Kofi Kingston runs and leaps over the top rope, over him onto the floor to win. Dolph Ziggler's career literally in a nutshell. Dolph Ziggler was nearly on the floor before Kofi Kingston just dove over him and won the championship. Kofi Kingston retains the WWE Championship. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Somebody had tweeted, super boring steel cage match with Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. Never got out of first gear. Nothing exciting about whatsoever. Didn't feel like a WWE Championship match. I agree. I absolutely agree. Because, holy cow, it was pretty boring. I do have to admit, it was pretty boring. There was a couple spots in there that were okay. Those two didn't bring it tonight. And this was definitely like these matches chaining here, which is absolutely horrible. It really took from the excitement of the first half to now the boring ass part of the second half. Really took the crowd out. Crowd didn't even give a shit. Silent as hell, especially after, chanting the crazy shit that they've chanted with Daniel Bryan, and they were losing their shit with Ricochet and Samoa Joe, and they were completely going nuts for the New Day and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was pretty insane to listen to them dead quiet. You couldn't even not even one person said anything. Nobody. You could literally hear a pin drop in that arena the second half of the show, and that itself is a travesty. Alright, so okay, sorry, it wasn't Extreme Rules. It was Drew McIntyre is furious backstage just after that WWE Championship. Shane McMahon's trying to calm him down. Someone tries to interview McIntyre. McMahon says, tomorrow night on Raw, Reigns is taking on McMahon and McIntyre. Again. And the main event of the evening, which wasn't much of a main event, WWE Universal Champion Baron Corbin, or WWE Universal Champion Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Good lord. This match. Special guest referee. This match. Corbin takes forever, by the way, to introduce the special guest referee, who's Lacey Evans, by the way. Great. She's a shit wrestler, and she's a worse referee. Like, I don't think you could get worse at, like, a job that you barely do. But holy cow, was this Absolutely terrible. Wow, this match was horrible, especially with Lacey Evans. I don't even really want to talk about this match. It's Baron Corbin. I will say this, okay? Seth Rollins wins the WWE Universal Champion, right? He retains it, right? He retains it. He does the stomp on Corbin. The thing that got me in this match was when Lacey Evans changed the rules. It was about midway through the match. She was allowing Baron Corbin to hit Seth Rollins with steel chairs and all this other craziness, right? So then she changes it about mid-match because, fuck it, it's WWE booking. Who gives a shit? And Lacey Evans, who cares? She then changes it to a no disqualification match, right? Which then Baron Corbin, still hitting him with the chair and all this other just mindless crap. And Lacey Evans is in there, obviously feuded with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are a couple. And just in case you didn't know that, just watch this pay-per-view, and Michael Cole is so weird with it. Stop. Who cares? Alright? We don't need to know about their personal business. Who gives a shit? Alright? Who cares? Oh, they're a couple, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. We know, and I'm pretty sure that those two have to deal with a lot of weirdos online. Thinking that that Becky Lynch was gonna date them and all that. It was this situation that happened or something similar. But that's what happens when you're a public figure. It is what it is. This spot with Lacey Evans, when she then called it a no DQ, made Becky Lynch look really, really stupid. And this is why I say this. Becky Lynch did not come out to save her boyfriend at all. Until there was a spot where Lacey Evans was slapping Seth Rollins like 2 or 3 times, like really hard, and then Baron Corbin goes to turn him around and he hits Baron Corbin, and then Lacey Evans low blows Seth Rollins. Okay, the whole match, Lacey Evans was not counting for Seth Rollins, so obviously she was crooked. I mean, what? Why didn't Becky Lynch come out earlier? Like, didn't make any sense. None of this made sense. I mean, the crowd popped for her when she came out, whatever. But what took so long? I mean, she was clearly crooked. She was there to have Baron Corbin win. Anytime Baron Corbin would pin Seth Rollins, there was like a fast count, he'd kick out. Anytime Seth Rollins would pin Corbin, she would never count, or it would be like super slow. So why wasn't Becky Lynch out there before? I mean, they just had a feud for the Raw Women's Championship. And there was still heat there, kind of, sort of, at the end of the match between the two. I mean, none of it made any sense. Never made any sense. And then Becky Lynch came out after the low blow, beat up Lacey Evans. Referees came out to break up the two. One referee rolled in, and he was the one that counted the 3 for Seth Rollins to retain. What a garbage main event. I was so bored. I didn't care. I barely got through the match. That's why I didn't even read it to you, because I just told you literally the highlights. Like, that's all you need to know. It was like a 30-minute match that felt like an eternity. The pay-per-view was 3 hours long. Thank God. Actually, no, it wasn't 30 minutes. It just felt 30 minutes. It was like 13 minutes. I think it was one of the shorter matches on the card. Yeah, I think so. Either way, it was terrible, boring, and I wanted Becky Lynch to move on from Lacey Evans after she beat Lacey Evans again for the title. Again, I should say. But with this whole thing, I knew when Baron Corbin said Lacey Evans was the special guest referee, I sighed. I was so bored. I started having a headache because I knew what this was going to lead into, and I'm damn sure that we're going to get a stupid mixed tag team match tomorrow on Raw. Rollins and Lynch versus Evans and Corbin. And nobody wants to watch that. I mean, nobody wants to watch it. We already have Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin completely. They've wrestled out those two. together. They wrestle each other all the time, it seems like. And then Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans, like I said, Becky Lynch is not going to be a good women's champion until she has a proper heel, like Ronda Rousey was, to make her look good. Lacey Evans is not the woman right now, unless, I mean, I will keep saying Lacey Evans is not the right one until she proves everybody that she is. She needs to go back down to NXT. She needs to work on wrestling. She sucks in the ring. She's absolutely horrible. She's worse than Alexa Bliss, and that says a lot. I mean, she's so green. You're hearing the spots being yelled at, the botches, just the phoniness. It looks like shit. And now we have this crap. So it's going to continue. Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins are going to continue, probably till Extreme Rules. Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans are going to continue, probably until Extreme Rules, if not further, into SummerSlam. I mean, it's just... it doesn't make me excited for anything WWE related. The only thing I'm excited about WWE related right now is if they play the tag team division right, the tag teams can start getting legitimate again, and the United States Championship. That's it. I want to see the Intercontinental Champion defended. Why? Where is the Demon? Where's Finn Balor? Anybody know where Finn Balor is? Your Intercontinental Champion? Where is he? Where's the Revival? Why isn't every championship put on the line of this? Does WWE even do Night of Champions anymore? Seriously. Stomping Grounds, like, I mean, granted, you know, KO and Zayn and the New Day was one of the best matches in this whole card. No, keep them on the show. You should have replaced the two, and I hate to say this, the two women's matches with the Intercontinental and the tag team. And no, that's not a sexist thing. I'm just saying this just because those two matches were really the downers. They were the downers, with Lacey Evans not knowing the hell she's doing, and with Alexa Bliss being in the ring. You can't, I mean, like I said, I love Becky Lynch and I love Bayley, but who they work with. They worked with the two worst talents in the WWE Women's Division. And I want Nikki Cross to wrestle Bayley, and I want Becky Lynch to wrestle a good heel that will be on her equal level of talent, so we can get a damn good match like Ronda Rousey was. I mean, I'm to the point that if it, you know, even though I said at the beginning of this, I don't want to see Charlotte Flair anymore. If it's Charlotte Flair, put Charlotte Flair in the ring with Becky Lynch. I mean, come on. I am so tired of looking at Lacey Evans botch the hell out of these matches, making them look terrible. I'm pretty sure Becky Lynch has had it up to here with that woman. And they keep putting her in these spots because of what she looks like. And Alexa Bliss, I hope that's the end of her. Nobody wants to see this again. And then we can move on to a feud better for Bayley with Nikki Cross. I think that will be a good feud. I think it will work because Nikki Cross is a good worker. I can't wait for Ruby Riott to come back, by the way. Anybody else get that feeling? Ruby Riott and Becky Lynch will be a good matchup too. But my overall grade for this pay-per-view, I'm going to say, is a 2.5 out of 5. A half down the middle. And the reason why I say that is because half of the show was good, half the show was terrible. And when I mean good, I mean damn good. WrestleMania card level good. And then this is what the card everybody thought was going to be on the second half of the show. Alright? The good, obviously, the Cruiserweight, the Sami Zayn tag, the Tag Team Championship, and the United States Championship. Those 4 matches, awesome. The terrible, Reigns, Bliss, Evans, and the 2 main events. So 5 out of 4. But I'm going to go ahead and just give it a 2.5 because the matches that were good pulled the weight for the matches that were garbage. 2.5 out of 5. That is halfway, guys. I know that's probably a bad score. I'm not going to give it any higher because I can't. So, yeah, guys. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get the hell out of here, guys. Make sure you guys follow me down here on Twitter at UndergroundPan1, guys. This has been my WWE Stomping Grounds review, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, Tuesday, technically, for content. More content. Raw review. This week's going to be a wrestling only review. I had a lot of problems with my gaming recording software, so I didn't get much of it done. So it would just be a wrestling week. So I hope you guys enjoy your wrestling week. Pretty much you almost have daily content anyways when it comes to wrestling week. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow with more wrestling content. But until then, take care for now.